MEG-A secret: Meghan Markle and Prince Harry's wedding secrets revealed, including the second bouquet and spare cake. As excitement builds for the royal wedding in May, we take a peek behind the scenes to find out how hard it is to make a fairy tale into reality. Planning for a big wedding is stressful, with decisions to be made on everything from cakes to colors. But if you're marrying a prince, the pressure to make everything picture perfect is multiplied. Meghan Markle's wedding to Prince Harry on May 19 has been organized under a veil of secrecy, with only a few snippets about the big day known so far. Now a new documentary presented by Sir Trevor MacDonald and Julie Etchingham reveals how hard those on the inside have to work to keep the details secret in the run-up to the event. If something were to go wrong with the dress, cake or flowers, the world would be watching, so they have to get it right. From keeping hold of their rubbish to noting down the location of potholes, there are no lengths they chosen ones won't go to keep the secrets of the wedding under wraps. Cake precautions: we already know that Harry and Meghan's wedding cake will be made by American Claire Tack, owner of Violet Bakery in London. The talented baker has known Meghan for a long time and was asked to incorporate the bright flavors of spring in the cake. The lemon and elderflower flavored sponge will be decorated with buttercream and fresh flowers. Yum! Kate and William had two cakes, one a more traditional fruit cake and another chocolate-covered cake based on royal recipe, which was a childhood favorite of William's. Paul Courtney of McVitie's was responsible for baking the chocolate cake. Having a spare is vital in case something goes wrong in the run-up to the big reveal, so his team baked two cakes which were taken in separate vans to the venue. In the show he reveals that being able to bake isn't the only skill you need, you also need to be good at driving. What happens if one's in an accident? We were carrying precious cargo. I took one of the vans and drove the route 3 times, literally noting every pothole, every corner. Paul reveals, once the cake was safely at the venue, they weren't home and dry. Paul also reveals how Harry nearly ruined his brother's cake on his big day. As the team finished placing the delicate chocolate decorations onto the cake, disaster nearly struck. Harry came bounding in, how you'd expect him to be, a fun joker, and he walked up to it, very enthusiastic. "Oh wow, fantastic. Is this chocolate?" he asks. He then picked up a piece of chocolate up and popped it in his mouth. Then he pretended to box with the top decoration. Paul recalls, Baker Claire will have to make sure she has plenty of spare decorations and a complete spare cake to make it to the big moment on Meghan's wedding day, especially if Harry gets there early. Dress to impress. Details of Meghan's wedding dress are some of the most closely guarded secrets of the upcoming wedding. So far no clues have been given about which designer is creating her gown. We know from previous royal weddings that those working on the dress are sworn to secrecy and have to go to extreme lengths to keep the press from finding out what they're working on. Elizabeth Emanuel, who worked on Diana's wedding dress with her then-husband David, has kept scraps of the dress which made them famous. Not because she's sentimental, but because that's what they had to do in order to make sure nobody found out about the dress before the wedding. "We had to be very careful not to let any scraps fall on the floor because we didn't want them to end up in the rubbish," she revealed. Not even a thread of the silk and taffeta dress was allowed to leave the building. "We had a lot of journalists going through the rubbish to see what color the dress was like." Though Elizabeth and her team managed to keep the dress secret, she was horrified to see how creased the dress looked when Diane stepped out for the first time. "We did know it would crease a bit, but when I saw her arrive at St. Paul's and we saw the creases, I actually felt faint. I was horrified," she said. At least Elizabeth knew whose dress she was working on. Many of the master craftspeople hired to work on Kate's gown had no clue it was for her. Kate's lace-covered dress was designed by Sarah Burton of Alexander McQueen. To complete all the intricate lacework, she hired specialist seamstresses from the Royal School of Needlework. The delicate lace had to be hand-sewn, and to keep it looking pristine, the artists had to wash their hands every 30 minutes. They were told that they were working on lace for an Italian actress's costume, and it wasn't until Kate stepped out in her dress that they realized what they'd really been working on. Whether Meghan chooses a British designer, or one from her home country of Canada, all eyes will be on her when she steps out on May 19. Flower power. As well as having two wedding cakes, there needs to be two bouquets on hand for a royal bride. It's become a tradition for royal brides to carry bouquets of white, and it's not known if Meghan will continue to follow this rule. We do know that the floral decorations are being handled by Philippa Craddock and that she'll be using roses, peonies and foxgloves. However, we can be pretty certain that she will include a sprig of myrtle in her bouquet. Like Kate before her, she'll include the stem, cut from a plant which was grown from the sprig used in Queen Victoria's bouquet. Myrtle is supposed to symbolize good luck in marriage and marital fidelity. The special myrtle plant grows at Osborne House on the Isle of Wight, so the florist will have to make sure that she's brought enough over to make up 2 bouquets. Like the cake, the team behind the wedding will have a spare on hand in case of any last-minute disasters. Featuring interviews with former royal bridesmaids, suppliers and guests from past weddings, the show promises to be a true glimpse into the weird world of royal weddings.